It's DORK COURT number 51 or 2. I don't know. I got it right on the thing, but we're looking. I was just telling Randall in the green room, I'm so much looking forward to talking with him today. Even if we end up talking about Pogs and Pokemon or something, it's not so much looking forward to talking with him about a movie he hasn't seen, but it's it's looking forward to the fact that he watched that movie. So here we go. Randall Armstrong. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
We're starting a little late for Chris Sagasag and Hector and those guys, if anyone cares. But yeah, I haven't had anything to eat today at all.
Really?
I had 2 cups of coffee. It was a very busy day. I got a lot of shit accomplished to the point where I was supposed to pick up Walker, but I'm like, hey, Meme, can you go pick up Walker? Because Randall and I are going to talk about Roadhouse.
Sweet.
So you're good. Have you watched both of them?
Sadly, I wasn't able to watch the other one, but
The
I
new
watched.
one?
Yeah, the new one.
Okay, don't worry about it because guess what? I didn't get to it either. I thought there's enough about this one. It'll come up. You've seen it, right? Or have you not seen the new one?
No, I've seen like clips.
Yeah. So I might talk about that stuff and how certain stuff is echoed in the new one, but it's not. You don't really have to see it. It's super entertaining. Don't get me wrong.
Oh,
It's great, but it's like in a discussion about the first one, you don't really need the second one. But in the second one, you definitely need to have the first one so you know why stuff is happening.
I really like Jake Gyllenhaal. Like, I think of all the movies that I've seen him in, and they've all been fairly good. Okay, like I don't think there's been any of those films that he's done that's bad.
Yeah.
Maybe, like I haven't seen The Bubble Boy, the one that he did, but that might be the one. But then again, I heard like it's kind of like a cult hit. Like some people dig it; they think it's a fun movie. So
yeah, I mean, when you're talking about a body of work, you're gonna have clunkers, right? I don't hold that against anybody. My big thing with him was always that I didn't like Ryan Gosling for some reason.
Okay.
And I just confused them all the time. And then once I saw, I guess it was the Shane Black movie, The Nice Guys.
Yeah.
That's Ryan Gosling, and I went, oh man, I get Gosling's thing now.
Yeah.
And now his modern stuff is like some of my favorite movies. And Jake Gyllenhaal is being appreciated for his own work instead of, damned for some audience thing that it wasn't really even based on anything. I was just like, Ryan Gosling, what a dick. And then it's like, no, that guy's awesome. that was me. Yeah. Sorry, Ryan.
It happens.
Anyway. So the first question, this is a Steve Ukern question. He always wants to know, like, what was your impression of the movie before you saw it?
So the big takeaway impression for me, because I'm a big fan of Family Guy. Family Guy, they always pop culture references. So, the whole like Roadhouse, like you see Peter Griffin like kicking and stuff like that. So I figured, part of what Peter was doing is, an exaggerated version of essentially like what he was pulling from the Roadhouse movie.
So that's an awesome like digital generation version of what my initial thing was with it. Like I was in college when that movie came out, so I kind of was like, oh, Patrick Swayze, okay, whatever. And I'll go see Buckaroo Banzai again or Blade Runner or something,
Yeah.
And so I just missed it. And if it was on television, you catch something with Ben Gazzara walking by and you're like, what is this nonsense? And so in the early 2010s, I got into this political discussion group where we talked about everything but politics because everybody is so awesome.
Yeah.
And there's one guy that I became pretty good friends with, Chris Strang. I think I mentioned him last time because he's really watching what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because you're like the next guy down from us. There's like me in my 60s, and then there's Strang in his 40s, and then you're like late 30s, right?
Actually, I'm 41.
41. All right. Well, but you live in a cool pop culture world, so you seem younger than you are. Not more immature, but younger.
Yeah.
In that, just that, like you got to stuff a little later, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? Like I can't imagine there's a 41-year-old who has never seen Roadhouse.
You'd be surprised. I've met people who've
Well,
never seen Star Wars.
No, of course. That, I'm just saying that's why I like having this conversation with you, and especially because, like, dude, listen to what I said. I was one of those guys. I just missed this cool cult movie for reasons that had nothing to do with the movie itself. It was just wasn't the right time or anything. Anyway, so Strang is like telling me, dude, you have to watch this movie. It's like one of the best movies ever made.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know, man. I read about it. I'm like, it seems real cheesesteak. And he's like, just watch it. And man, I wasn't even like 20 minutes into it, and I was like, this is the best movie I've ever seen.
Nice.
So my thing was, I know it was a movie everybody loved, but I just hadn't gotten to it. And yours was like, oh, I guess I'm pretty up to date on this whole movie because I got all the references, right?
I mean, kind of. I mean, I've seen a bunch of Patrick Swayze films. You know, his big staples, right? Like Dirty Dancing, Ghost, Point Break. So watching those movies, I pretty much was like, okay, I get who Patrick Swayze is, and so there's
those 4 movies.
Yeah.
That guy's crazy all over the map, though. You think the same guy who did Dirty Dancing and Ghost is the same guy who did Roadhouse and Point Break?
Right.
I don't think so. I think that's 2 different guys. It's Patrick Swayze and, like, David Swayze. It's his twin brother.
Right.
Because it's such a range, right? I mean, acting's acting, but
Oh yeah, well, I mean, like, I think I remember hearing, who was offered the role of Ghost and he turned it down was, I think, Michael J. Fox. And so that's who they were looking for Ghost, and somehow Patrick Swayze got it. And so it's like, it's Ghost doesn't seem like one of those movies that Patrick Swayze would have done, but he did it, and it was a huge hit for him.
Yeah, they made that movie better by casting him because, and the same with Roadhouse, right? Like Roadhouse and Point Break, you get that a guy who looks like a ballet dancer is actually a rough guy, and that's the thing that only works in the 80s.
Oh yeah. Well, it's the idea of, like, it's not who you expected. Like everyone throughout the movie of Roadhouse, they're like, I thought you'd be bigger.
I almost said that in the list, the YouTube list for this.
Oh, nice.
So it's like Randall's like, I always thought he was going to be bigger, but I was like, nah, different job, same day, or whatever he says.
Yeah.
Same town, different schmucks. I don't know, whatever. But so I like the structure of that. My impression was always like a bunch of people were just telling me it was great, and I was like, yeah, I'll get to it when I get to it. So when I watched it, I was like, okay, I had my movie watch and narrative skills pretty well up to that point. I mean, I just saw this recently, like within the last 10 or 12 years, right?
Okay.
And so I always love stories that come out that start with the end of another adventure, right?
Yeah.
Because it makes you think the people you're following have real lives that isn't just this movie. Even though a movie should always be the coolest thing that ever happens to these characters.
Right.
If you start off with like the disc for the girl, punch a Nazi, and then go do the movie, then that's great, right?
Yeah.
It gives you the idea that, like, he's cleaning up his last mess. So that's how that started. So that's why I wasn't down like within 10 minutes. Because I had to hear the first 6 minutes is just like what he's doing at his job, and then Kevin Teige from Emergency, which he comes in, the guy who owns the Double Deuce. Did you recognize that actor?
I've seen his face before. I just don't remember what movies I've seen him in before.
It's cool because he's like kind of an action guy in the 70s. And so by the time, 10, 15 years later, by the time this movie happens, he's like an old guy gone to seed,
Yeah.
So you get the whole, like, spectrum there. And then when Sam Elliott shows up, there's an old guy who's been around, but he hasn't gone to seed. Right?
Yeah. He's still in the game.
So Walker's like you, except his touchstone is The Simpsons, because during the coronavirus, he watched all 30 years of The Simpsons in about 8 months.
I've been wanting to do the same thing.
He was just like did 10 or 12 a day, and he was just soaking it all in. It was like crazy, and I know that's how how Flaming Carrot happened.
Yeah.
He read 5,000 comics at once and then became a superhero.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of like, all right, let's watch this kid watch 30 years of Simpsons all at once and see what kind of superhero he turns into.
Let's see what episodes he retains. You know, because like you can watch a bunch of episodes and then all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, I only remember this, or I remember this.
Yeah, he's one of those I got the high points kids, and
Yeah.
he's always quoting stuff. It's insane. But so, oh no, Chris Sagasag, look at this. I'm a 58-year-old who has not seen Roadhouse.
What?
I wonder if we should. Well, the second question on the Steve Ukraine questionnaire is, how have you never seen this? So I kind of want to ask Chris. Like, Chris, were you like me that like you just like you were aware of it, but you were like, that's some kind of bizarro chick flick that you go with your best friend who's a dude? Like, you know, it's like there's a lot going on in that movie, so I just avoided it. And I'm glad Chris Strang told me to watch it because it's great. Anyway, so you just knew you just didn't have an opportunity to watch it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those like, you know, the reason I watched so many movies when I was a kid was because I was just watching whatever was on television. That's
yeah, Chris.
And,
I'm just making fun of Chris. That's awesome.
And so yeah, Roadhouse just seemed like one of those movies that just never popped up, you know. And yeah. I mean, like I said, they would play Ghost, you know, they would play Dirty Dancing, you know, they would play like what they considered were more popular, you know, Patrick Swayze films versus Roadhouse, you know, and like I never came across it.
See, that's awesome. Like we sort of talked about this last time, but go ahead and tell the story about what Bill Murray and Brian Doyle Murray do and all their brothers.
Yeah. So the main female love interest, played by Kelly Lynch, she's married to I think a producer or some guy.
Yeah, it's Scott Rudin, right? Some guy. It's Scott Rudin. He's a pretty famous Hollywood producer, right?
Oh, okay. And so anyways, Bill Murray's good friends with him, and apparently every time Bill Murray catches Roadhouse playing on TV, he'll just randomly call him up and be like, "Hey, Patrick Swayze's sleeping with your wife," you know.
Yeah. Oh, it's Mitch Glazer. It's not Scott Rudin. That's hilarious. Mitch Glazer, though, who's also a very big shot Hollywood producer. And I feel like since I got his name wrong, I should say he's a bigger shot than Scott Rudin. I should say that.
Okay.
No offense to anybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the thing I think is funny about that is it's always on where Bill Murray is.
Yeah.
And I see it on all the time. Like TMC plays it all the time. It's but because of this, we found out some cool information, right? I told you it was on Tubi for free. But
yeah.
Did you see it? It's only like 5 more days, right?
Yeah, 5 more days.
So I went to Amazon Prime and I was going to watch the Gyllenhaal one first, and that's there. And I'm like, no, I should probably refresh myself with the other one because I can watch that without paying attention to it, right?
Yeah.
Because I know the whole plot. I know everything I like, so I would just be watching it for like grace notes and cool quotes and stuff like that to talk with you about. And then I was like, no, I should probably watch I should probably watch that. But I was on Amazon and it had it right next to the Gyllenhaal one. Amazon Prime Original, Jake Gyllenhaal and Roadhouse. Then right next to it is like Patrick Swayze going like this. Yeah, Roadhouse, motherfucker. And I'm like, great. I'll just click over and it says, oh, that's available in 5 days. And I was like,
so as soon as it's top Tubi, it'll be on Amazon.
I'm like, it's somewhere right now. That's why they said that. Because everybody's looking for it. So I'm like, where is it? And I guessed HBO Max, no. And I guessed Paramount, no. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I remember Randall said Tubi had it. So I went to Tubi and it was right there.
Yep.
So I'm like, you know what? Jake Gyllenhaal, your MMA fighter, your screenplay that makes sense and for the modern day. I'm going to watch this nonsense. And it was just great. I love Sam Elliott. So yeah, so the third. Oh, okay. Here's the other one. What character, what moment, or what line, like really stands out? And you can't say he kills the guy for killing Sam Elliott by ripping his throat out.
Oh yeah, no.
Because that's the Family Guy joke.
Yeah, the one scene that I really think really kind of breaks down and explains the film is when Swayze is giving the 3 rules. Expect the unexpected, and be nice, right? Like there's just like that whole thing where he's like, he gets in your face and he insults you. Be nice, and like that's he's explaining the job. He's explaining like this is what we do, and this is what we need to do.
See, how many times will you say that now? Hey, be nice.
Be nice
until it's time to not be nice.
Right.
Oh, dude, I've been quoting that for 10 years ever since I heard that. That's a great quote.
Oh, it is. I mean, like that I think that scene alone right there where he's doing the rules, like that is prime, like boom, that's Roadhouse.
That's one of the cool things I think is good about the remake is that Dalton has like wildly different motivations, but he responds in the same way, right? Yeah. So like the Swayze Dalton is all like Mr. Jonathan Livingston Seagull, and everything's like cool and philosophical, and doing my Tai Chi and everything. Everything's cool, right?
Yep.
And so that's you get to be nice until it's time to not be nice, and then he takes out the trash.
Yeah.
But Gyllenhaal's is the opposite. Like he was on top of the world, and he got his ass kicked, and to the point where he wins MMA fights by not fighting because everyone's scared of him.
Yeah.
And then one guy is like, "You cost me $500." He's like, "Sorry." And the guy puts a 4-inch blade in his stomach, and he just kind of goes, "Oh yeah, all right." And it freaks the guy out that he doesn't like scream or yell or lash out.
Yeah.
He's just like, "Oh." And then he walks around for another couple minutes with a knife sticking out of his side. It's just it does the same thing, but from the opposite direction. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Like, well, I mean, I guess like they're thinking like, how can we establish the modern tough guy, but he's actually more of a badass than what you expect. How do you establish today's, version?
I love that though, because you have to, right? Because there's a whole bunch of Zoomers and millennials running around going, "Well, why did that happen? You didn't show the door open, so I didn't get how the guy went outside."
Yeah.
And so in the first one in the 80s, you just get to go, no, this guy right here is the world's most famous bar bouncer.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's not a thing, but you just kind of buy it because, that's what has to happen for you to be interested in this story. And so that's not going to work. So they set up this whole backstory for him that, there's a reason why he's really jacked. And there's a reason why he's working in this shit job because he can't really get another job. He's like ultra skilled, and he used his skill to kill somebody by accident, right? And so it's really funny that you get this. It's just the difference in the world, right? And this, I mean, in the late 80s, everything was chill. Anyway.
Yeah, no, the way they set it up, it's like, just experience, right? He's skilled and he's experienced. Like the way he just lives his life also, right? Like, like the guy's like, "Oh, I want the best." Well, so-and-so is the best. He's like, but so-and-so is old, I want you. So he's like, okay, and like immediately he's like, this is how much it's going to cost you. This is what I need. This is what you pay me. And then, it's like right away, he just like, he knows what he wants. And so he's like, done, and he's like, okay. You know what? There was that one scene where he's like, I got a plane ticket for you. And he's like, I don't fly. It's too dangerous.
Too dangerous. Yeah, that's a pretty good setup between Kevin Tighe and Ben Gazzara character.
Yeah,
because they're both like old dudes who think they know what's going on.
Yeah,
and then Kevin Tighe runs into Ben Gazzara, but Ben Gazzara runs into Patrick Swayze. So
no, Ben. The thing that I really liked about this movie was when you have like a really good villain. That's what I think really pushes the movie to be really good. Like you have to have someone who's playing this asshole, this jerk, this really bad guy. And, and this guy was, Ben, he basically was like, I own this city, I own this town, like I'm the richest guy here, and I do whatever I want, I get whatever I want, and it was just so like he was just such a psychopath, he was just like, like just pride and ego, like he just, and Dalton was just like, listen, man, I just doing my job.
So you've seen Lebowski, right? Of course.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So that's the actor who plays Jackie Treehorn, the porn guy.
Oh, okay.
And so he plays scumbags really well.
Yeah.
Because he just looked like somebody's cool uncle who owns a used car place or something. It's just, he's really into the high school football team, but he's evil. And after a while, you just look at Ben Gazzara and like, oh, that guy's evil. And it's like, he was the coolest guy in the world. That guy's got to be dead, right? Let's check it out.
Maybe.
What else? I liked how Dalton dealt with his car situation. He had that really cool, like, 1970s Mercedes Benz that he just like kept under wraps because he knew that people get drunk and pissed off and throw stop signs through his windshield. So he knows well have a beater to go back and forth from where you live to where you work, right?
Oh yeah, just like as he was leaving, he like threw the keys to the one guy, and he's like, "I'm not valet," and he's like, "Keep it, it's yours."
I meant to look up who that actor is because he's got the best voice in the world.
Yeah,
he's got to be some kind of like blues singer or something that was hanging around.
Probably
because there was a lot of cool blues stuff in that first movie.
Yeah.
Nah, what are you doing? What are you giving it me for? I ain't no valet.
That guy, oh my god, he's great. Anyway, it's cool. What else did you like? Or nothing? Was it? Yeah. How about this? Was it worth seeing? Like now that you're like caught up with your education of like old Roadhouse, was it worth it, or was it just kind of like?
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely worth it. Like this is the thing I appreciate about '80s films. Okay, it sounds really bad, but I'm like, but I feel like it's consistent, right? The best '80s films, right? Whether it's a horror film, whether it's an action film, or whether it's a comedy film, all of these best films always had good nudity. So the nudity in that movie, it's good.
It's on point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think up until you got to the boobs, because what are you going to do? It's a boob situation. But I love what you said with that they were always consistent, because that means modern movies aren't that consistent, are they?
No, God, no. Modern movies are always either trying to do something new, or they're just trying to like be like something different, and then like, and oftentimes they don't pull it off, like they either fall short or maybe editing. I think editing is like so important in film, and nowadays you have people who can put together, like, great example is I don't want to bash on the Marvel films, but like you had like Thor 2 is like kind of like universally a lot of fans complain like, oh, it's one of the worst of all the MCU films. But the director has flat out said like that's not the movie he made. They had other people come in and re-edit the film and made it what it was to fit the whole MCU narrative. And so that's the thing, is like you can just hire people to, the directors can film all the scenes. They try to put the film together, but at the end of the day, the studio can just hire an editor, and the editor can go in there and just chop up the film. And then if the producers are like, this is perfect, we like what we see, let's go.
Yeah, but what's different about now than was about then? That would happen back then too.
I think that they had a little bit more creative control back then. Okay. I mean, like, I think studios would still get involved, but I don't know. I think like producers, like, you had guys like, Jerry Bruckheimer, Joel Silver, like a lot of those guys, I think they were very like hands-on. They were there. So like if any other producers that came along and were like, oh, well, this is what we want, I think they'd step in and say, no, like, this guy knows what he's doing. Let him do what he's doing.
You see how that Marvel thing doesn't line up though, right? Because that's its own special case. Of course, Thor 2 was fucked up because they put in that whole scene where he's in the remembering the thing in the little like rock jacuzzi cavern he was in. Like, of course that wasn't part of it, and that was supposed
Well,
to
I think
go.
that scene you're talking about is Avengers.
Is it Avengers?
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, that's the same thing though, right? Where it's they take Marvel as a studio takes control over your thing and adds some weird thing. I don't. Well, what
Oh, yeah.
I don't get what they did in Thor 2. I've seen that movie like once, maybe. It
Yeah.
wasn't that great.
Well, because like the director, I think he's a good director. He worked on Game of Thrones.
What do you know his name?
Taylor.
Never mind. I got it.
Yeah.
Thor 2 director. Alan Taylor.
There you go. Yeah, Alan Taylor.
But like Christopher Yost, Marcus and McFeely wrote the screenplay. Like those guys know what they're doing.
Oh, I agree.
So
I agree.
clearly, it's you know, you don't have to come in and like. I just kind of rolled my eyes when you're like, that never happens, because that was all of Heaven's Gate. Like there's a ton of things that happened in the 70s and the 80s where, you know, I mean, what do you think happened to Back to the Future? Right? They shot a third of that movie until the studio came in and went, no.
No, I mean, from what I heard, it was the director and like
Zemeckis, yeah, but
yeah,
like
I think what happened was Zemeckis wanted Michael J. Fox at the time and couldn't get him, so he's like, all right, well, we'll go with this guy. And then just through beginning of filming, he's just like, we're just not, you know, Zemeckis was smart. He knew what he wanted. He saw what was going on and was like, this isn't what I want. This isn't working out, you know? And so he made the right call, but only because I think
Randall, he shot a third of the movie. Do you think so that's not like right away, right? No,
it's not right away, but I mean, it's probably
so it wasn't him that said we need a new guy, and the studio went, "Oh, great! All that third of the movie that you shot is wasted money now."
Yeah,
that's it was, and we're just going to do that because you feel you need to. No, the studios do that because they control the money.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm sure he brought it to their attention. This movie is going to suck if you don't let me do this. But I'm sure they had a ton of meetings about that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. So Roadhouse, though.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm really glad I watched it. I had a lot of fun watching it. I mean, there's bits and pieces of it where I kind of like laugh to myself, like, okay, it's kind of cliche, but I'm like, but that's what the movie's supposed to be, you know? And yeah, I was actually just thinking earlier today, trying to rank where would I rank it with the Patrick Swayze films. Like, part of me thinks like I think I like this more than Dirty Dancing, you know?
Okay. I don't know anyone who likes Dirty Dancing.
Oh, really?
Like, dude, it's a rom-com in the fucking Catskills.
Yeah.
Like, what? Really? I don't know.
I mean, it was a good story.
Put Baby in the corner.
Yeah, funny story about Dirty Dancing. I used to work at FYE, and you know how sometimes people get a little superstitious, you know, like if you do something and like, you know, something works really well, it's like, okay, we'll do that again, we'll test it again and see if it works.
Sure, of course.
So we took over this store. They were going to close this store, and my buddy got promoted as he was the store manager. I got hired as assistant manager. And so at the computer, there'd be last year's sales and projected sales, 2 sets of numbers. And we started doing better, right? We started like outdoing each set of numbers almost every day. And one thing I noticed was like I was playing the soundtrack to Dirty Dancing. And so I kept playing it the next day, and then the next day, just playing it over and over again. And it was beating last year's sales and projected sales every day, to the point where a couple of the employees, they're like, please, for the love of God.
I will murder you if you play that soundtrack again.
But I explained to them, look, I don't want to listen to it either, but it's been good for sales. And they didn't believe me, so we took it off. They put on a rap album, and guaranteed, I looked at the numbers. We did not beat projected sales and last year's sales. They're like, oh, it's just a fluke. That's just one day. I'm like, okay, we'll do it again tomorrow. Same thing happened. Numbers were down again. Did it 3 days in a row. Numbers were down 3 days in a row. I said, okay, I'm going to put on Dirty Dancing, and then we're going to see what happens. And we beat the sales numbers. And they looked at me like, this is crazy. And I'm like, I know, but it works.
It's not crazy. Nobody goes into a store and wants to hear rap because it's so chill.
Oh
And
yeah, yeah. But I
they
mean,
want to open their wallets. That's what happened there.
oh yeah. Well, so we're in a small town. We're in Port Charlotte, where it's a bunch of like retired older people,
Oh
right?
man, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, yeah. So they're coming in, they hear this music, and they're
But
having, they're enjoying the music, and they're just shopping. They're shopping. They're buying. They're having a good time, and that's what did it.
all right, that's awesome. But that's the song. It's not. Nobody went. Oh, thank God they're playing the Dirty Dancing soundtrack.
Right, right.
It was just kind of a chill thing. But I totally get like a better experiment would be play stuff like that
Yeah.
from the Catskills in the 50s, as opposed to like I don't know, Chris. I wish Chris was here so he could sing.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Oh,
Are-
another thing I noticed too, because like I know Patrick Swayze loves singing.
oh yeah. No, he's a song and dance guy like Jackman.
Yeah, and so I was like watching the credits, and I noticed like I didn't pay too much attention to like a lot of the music that was played, but like some songs I remembered, but like I didn't like I was more focused on like the story and the
Okay.
acting. So like sometimes certain songs kind of just pass me. But I'm looking through the credits, and I noticed that Patrick Swayze had sung one of the songs in that movie.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
They did. Walker and I had the Starsky and Hutch on that Ben Stiller and Owen Wilson.
love
did.
that one. Yeah.
And then that bit where they're he accidentally does all the coke when they have that date with Amy Smart and Carmen Electra.
Yeah, yeah.
Owen Wilson pulls out his guitar and starts singing a song, and it's "Don't Give Up on Me, Baby," which David Soul, the guy who originally played Hutch, had as a AM radio hit back when that show was popular.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So I love that because we
It's a
talk
nod.
about that all the time where actors, when they get in the old days, this doesn't happen that much anymore, but when they get some attention for their cool show, a great way to get money real fast is write a book or cut a single, right?
Yeah.
And David Soul, but actors can sing and dance and shit, so of course the music thing's a little easier to deal with. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
Well, when I think of like actors and music, like I'll think of Frank Stallone.
oh, really? No.
I do, because like he sang one of the songs for Rambo, and I think he might have sang like a song that they used for one of the Rocky films. And I just think that's hilarious. It's like you have Sylvester Stallone, who's like the big success, and he's like, yeah, my brother wants to sing a song. Okay, like we'll put it in this movie.
You ever watch True TV? You got True TV down there, don't you?
We have it. I don't usually watch it.
There's this dumb thing like World's Stupidest People or something, and they have like all these people just commenting on stuff off the internet, but Frank Stallone is one of them.
Yeah.
And that's what I always think of. I think of Frank Stallone could only get a job shitting on internet clips with Tanya Harding. And
oh geez, yeah.
Oh my God, who else is on there that cracks me up? Oh, Leif Garrett.
Yeah.
Who was a teen heartthrob, like a Robbie Benson kind of guy in the 70s. And who's the other one that's like that? Danny Partridge.
Oh yeah.
Whatever that guy's name is. Oh my God. It makes me want to go watch we just call it Stupid People in the House. I don't even really know what the title of that show is, because I'll say to Walker, you want some stupid people? It's probably some drunk trying to drive a Jeep into a tree. And he's like, yeah, that's cool. I'm telling you, that's great TV. It's no Roadhouse, though.
No, definitely not. Definitely.
Where
not.
are you on the big punctuation problem with Roadhouse? For a long time, people thought it was one word, but it's two words on the movie poster. So that kind of seems like, why is there an argument?
Right. I mean, I don't pay attention oftentimes about that. The only time I pay attention or care is like when I'm literally like Googling, looking for it.
Yeah.
I'm like, is it one word, two words? I don't remember, and I'm just like,
yeah, that doesn't matter. Especially for Roadhouse. I mean, everybody knows what you're talking about.
What I'm curious though is, as good as that film is, how hasn't there been a sequel made?
There has. direct to video, Roadhouse 2. Nobody.
Oh, right.
Nobody else is that you care about, isn't it? And it's like it's got something to do with Cuba because the lambada dance craze was a big deal when they made that movie.
Are you talking about Dirty Dancing 2?
I'm pretty sure. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? I look up that stuff all the time. There is a Roadhouse 2 though. Let's see if I got that correct. Roadhouse 2: Last Call, a direct-to-video sequel. While he's deep undercover in New York, DEA agent Shane Tanner, son of the legendary cooler named Dalton, learns that his uncle Nate Tanner got beat up by a group of men because he doesn't want to sell the Black Pelican, his bar in Louisiana. Yeah, I think I'm talking about the other one. What was that? Dirty Dancing 2 or something?
Yeah.
Also, Dalton was murdered years ago, and Shane wonders who killed his dad. Come on, man. Who cares?
They killed him off.
Who cares? Dirty Dancing 2, Dance Harder. Yes. That's the one I read. Well, anyway, both of them sound like direct-to-video money grabs that only confuse drug-addled drunkards.
They paved the way. They paved the way for like Scorpion King Part 4 to get made.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't mean to denigrate direct-to-video movies. They're making people happy, right?
Yeah.
And I really like the Asylum guys where they're like, hey, John Carter's really big. Oh, we're gonna do a Princess of Mars. You know?
Yeah. Well, you know who I did appreciate his films back in the day was what's his name? Steven Seagal. And so that dude has made a lot of direct-to-DVD movies, including Jean-Claude Van Damme, so like I feel like when I get bored enough one day, I might like binge watch a bunch of those like straight to DVD films just out of curiosity.
Don't. We will never run out of good movies for me and my friends to recommend to you.
Okay, that's good.
You know who's really into this is Marco, because he's like, fucking thank God Randall's watching all these movies. I asked him if he's seen it. He's never seen. So speaking of that, do you have any thoughts for like the next one? What's something that you feel like you haven't that we give you shit about?
That's a good question. Gosh, I'm trying to think.
What do you feel like? A comedy? What's going to go down easier?
Comedies usually go down pretty easy.
Are there comedies you wondered about that you haven't? Like you've seen Young Frankenstein, right? Are you up to date?
Oh yeah.
On your Mel Brooks.
Yeah. I mean, there's The Producers. I've never seen The Producers.
Oh yeah, you want to do that?
Yeah, we can do that.
There's one with Nathan Lane and
Matthew Broderick.
You want to do that one instead of the? We should.
I mean, I'm willing to try and do both.
We should probably have the conceit that we do the original, right?
Yeah.
Like remakes are kind of. Yeah, we could do both, except 4 hours is a lot, right? Unless you...
I mean, yeah, but if I start early enough, like I actually watched Roadhouse, I want to say 2 days ago.
Oh yeah,
maybe 3 days ago. So, because I was trying to make room to watch the other one, but I just got so busy the last day or two that I was just like,
yeah.
I totally forgot I had a doctor's appointment today. If I didn't have the doctor's appointment today, I probably would have watched the other Roadhouse today before.
Today was weird. I was like all set to watch both of them, right?
Yeah.
And then I ended up not even finishing the first one because I had so much crap going on. So I really apologize, but I'm pretty up to date on Roadhouse. So
yeah. Oh, and I will say I really did like the ending when the other guys, up from that own businesses from the town, when they all each got like a chance to like, put in a shot. Into Ben Gazzara. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like they came together and they're all like, we'll finish them off together. Like we're all in this together.
The thing I love most about that movie, and I would have watched it immediately if Strang had told me, but that's just a Western, man. It's, it's like they have the saloon and the bad guys come in, the sheriff is ineffective. And you know what I mean? Like everything about that is a Western. It's just through like a bunch of guys who smoked a lot of weed in the 70s.
Speaking of Western, one we need to add to the list is I've never seen any of the Clint Eastwood, The Man with No Name films.
Oh yeah, Walker and I just did those last year actually. Do you
Nice.
wanna? Do you wanna? Do you care? Like, do you want to do one? I'll do one.
Yeah, but I mean, like after the producers.
Okay, you want to producers is that's where you want to go. I want to make sure you're happy, right?
Oh
So we
yeah,
get a
yeah.
nice big. Yeah, the trilogy of the Man with No Name is great because that's you'll find out that's just totally marketing, right? It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
they're
Spaghetti
three
westerns.
unconnected movies where his name is Joe and Mike and Dave. Like he has names in all of them. It's just that you realize that Chris is going for a few dollars more. Me, I'm all about High Plains Drifter, which is not one of those spaghetti western trilogies,
Right.
but it's in the genre because High Plains Drifter. Oh my god, that movie's so good. Have you
Nice.
seen that?
No.
Dude, that's the one we should watch.
There's quite a few westerns I haven't seen. I did manage to watch the majority of Once Upon a Time in the West.
Is that what is that? That's the one with the Desperado,
Fonda,
right?
Henry Fonda.
What's the one that Steve Buscemi is in and Salma Hayek and
Gosh, was it Once Upon a Time
in Mexico? That's what it is.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I get confused.
Yeah.
So yeah, you like the Henry Fonda one?
Yeah, I did. That was a really good one. Who's the main guy? He was in Death Wish.
Charles
Bronson. Yeah.
Charles Bronson.
That might be my favorite movie of Bronson's.
Oh yeah, really? Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
My favorite movie of Bronson is when he married Jill Ireland.
Yeah. Oh wait, because he did. He was in Magnificent Seven, right?
Was he? I'm not real up on Charles Bronson's career.
Okay. Yeah, I think he was one
he
of the.
Might be in Magnificent. All I remember is Magnificent Seven is fucking Steve McQueen stealing that movie from Yul Brynner, who was like Harrison Ford at the time.
Yeah.
Right, and he just stole that movie right out from under him. You've seen that, right? The Magnificent Seven.
No, I mean I might have seen like bits and pieces of it, but I've never like sat down and watched like the whole thing.
There's a bit where all of them are on like rails and like sitting down, and Yul Brynner is addressing them all.
Yeah.
And McQueen is framed in the shot like about where my hand is behind him, right? I'm Yul Brynner, the bald guy.
Yeah.
And he's like doing some exposition and emotion and stuff. And fucking McQueen right here takes his hat off and just starts flipping it in his waist. And because it's a movement, your eye keeps being drawn over by them. And he did that shit on purpose. I know he did.
Yeah.
And I know he did because Yul Brynner freaked the fuck out about it because he could tell by the cameraman that no one's looking at him. And he's like, I'm delivering this emotional, powerful scene, and everybody's looking over there, motherfucker. And I think about that every time I watch Seven.
What's the one Steve McQueen movie where they're all like in a POW?
Oh, Great Escape.
Is it Great Escape?
Yeah. You haven't seen that? Let's start writing that down.
Yeah.
Great Escape. That's a good one. We might get people to watch us live if we really get into Great Escape. Sweet. What was the other one you said?
Oh, the Man with No Name.
Oh yeah. Oh, Dirty Dozen too. You know what I was thinking? Instead of Dirty Dozen, I was thinking Kelly's Heroes. What do you think about that, Chris?
That's got
what should we make him watch?
Eastwood, right?
Kelly's Heroes. Yeah, it's like with everybody. Everybody in that movie is famous. Even like it's like Telly Savalas is in it.
Yeah.
Chris says, "Oh yeah, we might have to do." Wait, Great Escape. Oh, what did I just say? Kelly's Heroes.
Yeah.
The reason I'm so excited about that is, guess what? I have never seen Kelly's Heroes.
You know? Oh, okay.
Yeah. And my friend Steve Higgins is like, dude, I can't talk to you until you watch that movie. So
nice.
That'll be a funny one for both of us. Sutherland and Kelly's Heroes is epic. I agree with Timmy because I'm like you on this one. I've seen a bunch of clips. So I kind of feel like I've seen the movie. I get it. I read the Mad magazine satire at the time.
Yeah.
So I'm a little kid. That's how I actually interacted with movies before because I was a kid.
Yeah.
Right. So I was completely dependent on my parents to buy a ticket for me to go see this movie. So like that was kind of like my Family Guy and Simpsons, right?
Yeah.
Like I would get all these references, and I would understand all the like Apocalypse Now, man. I was dying to go see Apocalypse Now. My parents wouldn't let me because I was too young for that kind of violence, right?
Sure.
But I was like, I remember clearly saying this to my mother, you don't understand. The Marvel satire is called A Pair of Spocalypse Now. And they had Jack Davis do his little thing of Spock going, oh, here's this weird thing about Vietnam. Check it
Yeah.
out. And so I read it like Mr. Spock wants me to go see this movie. So like
Nice.
I have to go see it. And so whenever anybody talks about it, like this is my father-in-law's favorite movie. He thinks that's like the highest achievement in film. And I just hear in my head, oh, a Spocalypse Now, huh? You like you want to kiss Leonard Nimoy? Apocalypse. Okay. You need a pair
Speaking of Star Trek, I can honestly say I remember I saw bits and pieces of it, maybe half of it, but I don't think I've seen the entire Star Trek 4.
The one with the whales?
Yeah.
You haven't seen the most accessible Star Trek movie that
I don't think I've seen it all completely. I mean, I remember as a kid, I think I caught like half of the film because I know how it ends. I remember how it ends. But there's so much of that movie as a kid that I don't remember that I probably didn't get like some of those things that they talked about, the adult content. But because like all the other Star Trek films, like I've seen 1 numerous times, obviously 2 seen numerous times, 3, Search for Spock,
So Sagasag lives in San Francisco too, right? It's like Daly City, but San Francisco. So both of us are gasping at you for not having seen Star Trek 4 because it takes place in San Francisco. So everybody, when you come to visit,
it's the funniest one.
You have to watch it. Is it the funniest one? Yes, I think it's pretty clear that's the funniest one.
Yeah,
because it's a fish out of water story that stars whales, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of comedy inherent in the premise. Like Spock is not working. He's just basically alive again.
Yeah.
They just reintegrated his spirit into his body, which isn't even his original body, right? It's like
because the Genesis project where the body like
He got reanimated without his soul, and so there's a lot of like, what the fuck is going on? And then they go to the past, so they don't know where they are. It's a really good one. I'm with Sag. You must have done a little too much LDS back in the 60s. Yeah, there's lots of cool stuff about that. Kirk Thatcher, one of the monster hunters in the Werewolf by Night thing they did for Marvel.
Okay.
He's the punk rock guy that is singing on the bus that they have to Spock bin.
Oh, yeah. I think I remember seeing
he's an associate producer on that film.
Yeah.
So
and then like I think the blonde, the girl, oddly enough, right? I guess this is sort of like a connection to Seventh Heaven.
Yeah.
Because she played the wife, and then the husband, he was in the first Star Trek film.
Right.
Yeah, so I tend to remember some of the faces and some of the actors. But yeah, no, I've been trying to do like a marathon of Star Trek just to get to Star Trek 4. But I always end up stopping at Star Trek 3. Like I finished 3 and I'm like, okay, I'm busy. I don't have time to like.
It's hilarious. You don't need to watch those first 3.
I know.
The 4 is amazing for a couple of reasons. I'll tell you why. Right. It is funnier. It's the most accessible one. Right. Half of it takes place in the present day, so the stakes are crazy. And guess what? There's no villain. It's the it's the only Star Trek movie where there's no villain, and I think that's the most amazing Star Trek kind of story that there is.
Yeah.
Like in the show, you'd have stuff that was even the antagonists weren't strictly villains, right? I mean, you had like crazy villain stuff with the blackface Klingons and stuff like that, but but every once in a while it was just like a crazy misunderstanding, right? Or like they didn't understand the context. Oh my god, you know what? Chris and I should just do Star Trek 4 because Because the conceit of you going, oh, I haven't seen it since I was a kid. I guess I've seen it would be like talking to me about Wizard of Oz, right? I've never seen Wizard of Oz all the way through from beginning to end.
Oh, you haven't?
The first time I saw it, I was a child, and the flying monkeys freaked me the fuck out. So I was just every time that somebody was like, "Oh, let's watch Wizard of Oz," I'd be like, "No." And so, but you catch it. I'm pretty sure I've seen every scene, just never in the
One
manner
full
in
showing.
which they intended.
Yeah.
So I bet that'll be Star Trek 4 for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, this Jane Whelan thing, she's one of the singers of the Go-Go's.
No.
That's who Jane Whelan is. So apparently, at some point, they just went, "We're having so much fun. Let's just put cool people on the screen in Star Trek uniforms." So they had like this really famous Indian tennis player, Vijay something. I don't remember his last name, but like in '86, he was like super famous, and they're like, "We need you to be a Starfleet captain." And he's like, "Yes, the whales are fucking destroying us. Holy shit." And you're like, "Oh man, that's the guy on Wide World of Sports." But they did that to Vijay Singh. Thank you, Chris. I knew you would know. And then they did that to Jane Whelan, one of the Go-Go's, who's like this short little pixie-esque girl with dark hair. And they like full on gave her Astro Boy hair and that monster maroon. And she's like, "Oh, geez, I don't want to upset anyone, but these things are destroying Earth." Oh, get out. Timothy Connolly. Jane almost joined my D&D RPG campaign via Zoom during COVID.
Ah, nice.
So Tim did our theme music for our Star Trek version of Dork Trek, and so I interviewed him once about it. We should interview him again because I have to hear this story. Like, because how does somebody almost join a D&D campaign?
Right.
Like they're either going to or they're not. And if they don't, they think, "Oh, almost, yeah, let's do it."
They were thinking about it. They were this close to saying yes.
It better be a schedule thing and not that Tim was like, "Yeah, the blonde girl's my favorite." I don't know. I'm trying to come up with some Go-Go's joke, but all I know is that first album of theirs with Vacation on it. Anyway, and that Jane Whelan is not only a Facebook friend of mine because of the Star Trek thing, but she almost got into Timmy's D&D as well. How about that?
Well, interesting fact, I've never played D&D.
I did once, and I was annoyed, and I got everybody annoyed with me. Because I'm like, I'm playing this cool elf character that understands traps. And they're like, "Oh, there's a trap across the path. Get the elf up here." And I'm like, I pushed the wizard into it to see what happened. And I just killed some other player, and they're mad at me now. And I'm like, "Yeah? What? You're not supposed to do that?" "No, you're supposed to work together." I'm like, "All right. I thought there was going to be beer and pizza and girls." Apparently not. See, I believe that it actually almost happened. I have to hear the story. So, and I'll tell you about it sometime. It's good. Hey, Walker Young's joining us.
Hello.
Star Trek 4?
What?
You want to see it? Randall's never seen Star Trek 4.
Yeah, I'll see that one.
All
Is
right.
that one with the whales?
Yeah, the whale. Yeah. Yeah, you should see it.
Yeah.
But what we run into
well, since you're getting Walker to watch it, like, do you want to make that the next one?
he's seen it, man, a million times.
Okay.
Dude, the reason I'm doing this with you is because Walker's up to date.
Yeah.
And now someone else needs my help. Now we should either do Great Escape, the Steve McQueen one,
Yeah.
or Kelly's Heroes. So one of them I've seen a million times, and I'll have a lot of stuff to point out to you. And one of them I'll be like you and go, "Oh, how have I not seen this movie before now?"
Nice.
Like I said, Steve Higgins, the owner of Outer Limits at 427, I think, Moody Street in Waltham, Massachusetts. One of the best stores ever. It's in the 420s. It might be 423. Yeah, 420. He tells me all the time, "How have you not fucking seen?" He doesn't.
Speaking of 420,
how have you not
Cheech and Chong films?
You haven't seen Cheech and Chong movies?
I've seen bits
Don't
and
you
pieces.
live in Florida? How is that possible?
I've seen bits and pieces. It's a movie I remember really laughing my ass off as a kid. Yellowbeard.
That's the pirate one, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I think both Cheech and Chong are in that one.
Huh.
I know Cheech for sure is in that one.
You know, when I was younger, I hated when there were comedy versions of stuff I enjoyed.
Oh,
That's
really?
why, yeah, that's why I brought up Young Frankenstein, because that's a movie I should have hated as a kid, but I loved it because it was black and white and it was Mel Gibson. I mean, Mel Gibson. That would be awesome. Mel Gibson's Young Frankenstein. I want to see
Yeah,
that.
that'd
No,
be
of course,
hilarious.
Mel Brooks, and I really liked Mel Brooks. I got his sort of Borscht Belt humor even as a young man,
Yeah,
because my grandparents really they had that same kind of sense of humor.
yeah,
My mom's parents, not my dad's parents. My dad's parents were not funny.
yeah. Very serious people.
They were cool, but very, very serious. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Mel Gibson and Mad Frankenstein. I know that would be funny, man.
Danny Glover plays Frankenstein.
Danny Glover, that would be cool. I don't know. Anyway, I forget where I was going because I looked at the clock and I went, 55 minutes. That sounds about right.
Yep.
So do you want to do Great Escape or Kelly's Hero? So we should do a war movie. That'd be fun.
Okay, yeah. If you want to do the next one is one of the war movies, yeah.
Great. Let's do Great Escape, because that's an important movie, and lots of people are cool in it. Like, oh man, who's the guy that played Jim Rockford? I can't remember his name now. He's in Maverick. Oh my God, James Garner.
James Garner.
Garner. Wow, is Keira McNulty going to get mad at me if he ever sees it? I might actually clip this out that I could not remember James Garner's name, just so Keira McNulty can give me shit about that. I'm getting old too, putting on the Ritz. The man, Peter, we just watched Outland. So Peter Boyle's the guy who plays the monster in Young Frankenstein.
Yeah.
So I love that. And it kind of takes me a minute when I'm watching Outland to not go, putting on the Ritz. Anyway.
Oh, dude, I loved him in Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah, he was excellent. I didn't watch that show, but every time I saw clips, I was like, Peter Boyle's the dad? That's great.
The funniest scene that he was in on that show.
Grand Prix. Yes, we're writing that down. We got a list going.
So, like, Peter Boyle's sitting there, and he's like, he's telling Raymond, like, don't get involved. Like, it's an argument between his wife and his mother. And so they start questioning Ray.
Yeah.
And then you see Peter Boyle's face like light up. He's smiling. He's like, I told you not to get involved. So he's laughing. And then the wife turns to Peter Boyle and asks him the question. And like, without dropping a beat, he looks at her and he's like, like he just fell asleep.
Yeah, I'm not involved.
Yeah, he like escaped. He escaped by just pretending he fell asleep.
The awesome thing about being married, and that is my wife and my mom never ever got into any kind of argument.
Oh, that's good.
My dad and I were always waiting for it, because we would have plans. We'd be like, we're gonna go out to the garden if that goes on, right? Because we can't be in the same room. We lose immediately, and then the end of a mother-wife argument is always them teaming up against the boys and finding common ground. That whatever their problem was caused by the men.
Yeah.
So we knew that. It's a great structure for a sitcom.
Oh, it is. It is.
And obviously, it doesn't happen all the time, but that happens enough that we had plans. If things ever started getting like edgy or abrasive, they never even really got like bitchy at each other. But like my dad and I always had plans just in case.
You're prepared. Prepared.
And now it's not a problem because my mom died. Oh, well. No arguments with Mimi. Batting 1,000. That was awesome.
Batting 1,000. There you go.
All right. Wow. And that crazy personal and sad note. What's another movie you want to get? Let's do that. Grand Prix is an awesome idea.
Yeah, I've never seen Grand Prix.
Well, that leads me down racing movies, right? Because like Steve McQueen loved racing, so he did a movie called Le Mans. That's great.
Yeah.
Le Mans, however they say it in French.
There's actually quite a few. Didn't he do a movie called Bullet?
Yeah, he did a movie called Bullet. You've never seen Bullet?
Never seen Bullet.
That's more San Francisco stuff. Well, I'll write down Bullet because that I don't see how you can watch modern detective thriller movies without having seen Bullet. Like,
Same thing with French Connection.
yeah, that's cool. I get French Connection, but I so much stuff comes from Bullet that like French Connection ripped off some stuff.
How
You
about
know?
how about One Flew Over
Crank. I'm
One-
actually with you on Crank, man. Thanks, Tim.
Oh yeah, no, I enjoyed Crank 1 and 2.
Oh, you've seen it? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Any other Statham you want to watch? Because I'm a giant Statham.
You know, I haven't seen any of the Transporter films.
Oh, let's do first Transporter. Because you'll go, oh, there's a lot of movies that came out of that too. You know, my old pal EJ Fettis, he was the editor-in-chief of Spunky Bean that I wrote all the Shield columns for.
Okay.
He and Mindy, the co-editors, the best editors I've ever had, because they were just like, they would just check for typos, never edit for style. Everything was cool.
Nice.
Until, you know, and if
Great
I was
guy.
late for some reason, they were always like, thank you so much for telling us. You know, I'm like, I feel bad that I missed it. I'm like at my, you know, my wife's grandmother's funeral or something. And they'd be like, oh my God, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I just need till tomorrow to send you this article. And they're like, it's cool, man. But that's not how regular editors usually are.
No.
So anyway, he loves Jason Statham. He's been watching all the Statham movies. There's
Okay.
like 48 movies.
Yeah,
He
he's done
watched
a
them
lot.
all.
He's done a
Anyway.
lot. He did a comedy with Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah. Was that Spy? Is that
I think
called
so.
Spy? Yeah. Don't watch those movies. Watch his cool like street level ones.
Okay.
Like once everything starts getting really polished and it's a Hollywood movie, they're not that cool. Like Days of Thunder and Driven. Yeah, those are good ones. I haven't seen Driven because of that came out when I had unreasonable and unearned Gosling hate. So I actually have that.
Oh no. There's
that was
Driver.
Drive. That was Drive.
Yeah.
Not Driven. What's Driven? Do you know that?
Driven's the Stallone Grand Prix racing movie.
All right.
I saw that a long time ago, back when I worked at Hollywood Video.
That's cool. That's the other reason why Steve has some questions for you, because both, I don't know if Mark did, but Steve definitely worked at Hollywood Video for a while, and I think maybe Mark did, although they worked at a comic store together where they played movies, so maybe that's what I'm thinking. But like, yeah, if you worked at a video place, you should really watch one of everything because people are going to ask you about it, right?
Yeah, I mean, not really. Not really.
No,
I mean,
nobody wants to know what the guy behind the counter has to say.
No. I mean, honestly, my memories of working at Hollywood Video was my buddy who he was also really big into comics. We became friends, and he was a manager. He had graduated a couple years ahead of me, and so I needed another part-time job. So I worked there like 1 or 2 days a week, and he was always pushing this bundle of like candy, popcorn, soda.
Oh, yeah, they're trying to make money. That's why.
Yeah. You know, I mean, well, he's trying to be a good manager, and he's trying to pump up those numbers. But like on a night, like we didn't sell any bundles. He's like, "Oh, you guys didn't even try," and I'm like, "Bullshit! I asked everybody; they just weren't interested."
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
that's maybe Skyfall and Spectre. Now, I don't know if Tim knows that I don't really like Skyfall.
Oh no, it's just what, like another version of GoldenEye.
Well, it's more that it's not a James Bond movie; it's an M movie. So, like for me to even take that movie, I have to believe that that Money Penny killed him in the beginning.
Yeah,
and all the shit that happens in the middle is some kind of like purgatory thing, and then at the end, Q has reanimated him in this cool ass RoboCop way.
Yeah,
and that it's just back to James Bond again. That's the only way I can deal with that movie.
Speaking of James Bond, I think I told you I haven't seen any of the Roger Moore films.
Yeah. I haven't seen any of the Remington Steele ones either. So
yeah,
I tried to watch. I was telling in between Shield things, I was telling you about EJ. I actually pitched him a thing. It's like, hey, over the summer I should probably keep writing articles. I'm going to write I'll finally see the. I don't even know that guy's name. What is that guy's name? The actor
Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan, who's a perfect Dr. Fate, by the way.
Yeah.
But he's just too pretty for James Bond. I couldn't take it.
No.
And so I never watched them. So I pitched him this thing. Hey, I'll do an article about. Here's a big James Bond fan who has never seen these movies because he had this irrational like avoidance of it. And I'll do an article about it. Man, I watched like the first. I don't know. I watched up to the bit where they got to, Dutch model Famke Janssen trying to choke him with her thighs.
Yeah, yeah.
And they had some kind of submarine or something. And I was like, this movie is fucking nonsense. I didn't even finish it. I couldn't take it. And I just realized that there's just a whole bunch of stuff adding up that is just not a movie that I would enjoy. That doesn't mean it's not a great movie, right?
Yeah.
And
well, you got Sean Bean, who's playing the villain for England, James. Yeah. No, for me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like him either. You
don't like Sean Bean?
No, there's just a whole bunch of stuff that it adds up that it's nobody's fault.
Yeah,
Sean Bean's a great actor, right?
Yeah.
I just don't care. And it's pretty James Bond. I just don't care. Yeah, and it's the '90s, so it's not even really any good James Bond, right? You got Famke Janssen in it, she's hot as shit, but she's in it for 20 minutes, so who cares?
You got to give credit to who's the Scottish actor? He played Nightcrawler.
Alan Cumming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in GoldenEye, and the best line, "I'm invincible."
See, I might not have even gotten to that. I have no recollection of.
No. Oh, so yeah, no, he played a cool part at the end, and he was also in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I just didn't note that it was him because he wasn't blue. Spy Who Loved Me has Richard Kiel as Jaws. Yeah, Spy Who Loved Me always weirds me out because of that braces, no braces thing.
Yeah, that's the Roger Moore one, right?
Yeah, you know about the Mandela effect, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Ordinarily, that doesn't affect me. I'm like, people are just remembering that wrong, or maybe I remember it wrong and I don't care, so I don't get involved. But motherfucker, that girl had braces in Moonraker.
Yeah,
she did, and there's nothing they can tell me that she didn't. Because that's the joke, right? She's beautiful and everything, but she has fucked up teeth just like Jaws. If she doesn't have braces, there's nothing. That scene doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they wiped it, but they did. The end. I have spoken.
Bond doesn't like girls with braces, maybe.
It's Jaws, though. She doesn't end up with him. She ends up with Jaws, and it's because she has fucked up teeth like he has fucked up teeth.
Oh, okay.
And it's the same thing with Blade Runner, where people will be like, Ridley Scott says Deckard's a replicant. Okay, that's cool, except he can't be, or that movie is meaningless. And that's how I feel about her braces. You obviate the entire point of Jaws having a girlfriend if she doesn't have braces. Anyway, I want to watch Moonraker again because that was the space one.
Yeah.
I must have done 3 of those space shuttle models with a Moonraker livery on the side, the Drax stuff.
Nice.
Stripes. I had like 3 of them in my tacked up to the wall in my closet. Anyway. All right, man, let's call it. What did we decide? Great Escape?
Great Escape.
I kind of want to do Bullet, though. Do you feel like a war movie or a detective movie? I mean, because we'll just do the next one whenever. It's not.
Whatever you want to do.
Let's do Great Escape.
Great Escape?
Yeah.
Cool.
James Garner's in it. And that way I can tell Kieran. I forgot his name for a second. I don't even have an excuse. Just zoned. I'm old. That's why.
Yeah, the movie I always remember James Garner in was Maverick.
Oh yeah, well he was the original Maverick on TV, so that's why. I got a cool little thing about that. Me and Mimi, when we were dating, we weren't even married yet. They were shooting the bit for the Maverick movie at Yosemite, so you have this really cool view of the Half Dome, and there's this cool thing. They had all the shit and all the trailers for the actors lined up on this line. It's it's a main road going into Yosemite, and we just happened to be going there for a little weekend getaway. And I was like, "Oh, they're shooting something." So we walked back over to see what it was, and it was like, "Oh yeah, this is all Maverick. And I'm like, oh, right on. We didn't see anybody, but it was cool to be on the set, which was Yosemite. You know what I mean? And like when you're watching TV, you kind of don't get that. Like a thousand times you see a movie with a Golden Gate Bridge, but it just, oh, look, it's Godzilla destroying the Golden Gate Bridge, or Magneto's ripping up the Golden Gate Bridge. So when you drive across the Golden Gate Bridge, you're like, oh, is Godzilla coming to get us? Oh, no, it's just movies. But something about Maverick, I was like, when it's something nature, I like buy into it a lot easier than whatever. Maverick.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a great movie too because it's directed by Richard Donner.
Yes.
Yeah, and like Superman's like one of my favorite movies, so I'm a Richard Donner fan.
Richard Donner was circling Last of the Independence. But with did you read that book we did, Last of the Independence? No.
Which one?
The Fraction book. Matt Fraction and Kieran Dwyer. We did a landscape book with a slipcover called Last of the Independence.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't read that one yet.
Cool sepia toned. I'll send you one. I got like a whole box of them kicking around the garage.
Sweet.
I can't throw them away, but I can't sell them because our contract's over.
Yeah.
So I mean, I could, but it'd be a dick move. So I'd give them out to people, but like it makes me sad because that's a really good book. Anyway,
I'm looking forward to it because I just heard recently that Matt Fraction is
he's doing Batman.
Yeah.
My kid told me that. He's like, Daddy, your buddy Matt's doing Batman. I'm like, oh, I know. I saw the art, man. It looks pretty cool. I love the new design of the suit.
Yeah, I feel like Mark Waid is kind of like responsible for because he's been doing the Batman Superman World's Finest, which is like set back in the early days. And so I think that they're gonna. This could be like the direction of Batman becoming more lighthearted and like kind of like old school, like back when he was wearing the blue and gray.
Well, the gray and the blue, yeah. But what I liked was they just made his insignia all blue instead of the yellow thing.
Yeah,
because like that bit where they had the black with like a yellow outline just didn't work for me.
No, yeah.
I'm like, I kind of don't want yellow on my Batman anymore. But I do want the gray suit because that's cool.
Yeah.
The gray and purple suit. Anyway, so they gave it to me. I'm down. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm excited.
All right. So what do we decide? Great Escape, right?
Yep, Great Escape. So now I got to figure out which streaming service has got it.
I'm sure it's the thing about those movies. Great Escape streaming.
I'm sure it's like on HBO Max because they have the AMC films, right? The Turner Classic Movies.
Let's see who's got it. Amazon Prime's got it. But you don't have that, right? Right. Jesus Christ. One of the things that happens with these old movies is that, because they're old and awesome, but nobody cares because you should have seen it on TV by now. Apple TV has it, but to buy only for $14.99.
Oh, geez.
I'm like, dude. Let's see. Do you have a Roku, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on Roku.
It's on Roku? Okay.
Yeah. Cool. I always feel bad. Like I pitch you a movie and then you're like, I should write down like what you have too, so I don't have to. So Chris is like, so now I'm whistling The Great Escape. The second you said, hey, what's that Steve McQueen movie where he's in a prison? Walker's whistling next room. Yeah. It's like you need to know that. It's just so
I love that theme. I love that theme.
Yeah. Voodoo has it. Yeah, no, it's Roku's got it. All right, man. Well, thanks. That was a blast. And we even talked about the movie the whole time.
Yeah.
Pretty much, except for that Batman thing.
Yeah.
I wonder if you can see. I'm going to do this. I never do.
Can you imagine Patrick Swayze playing as Batman?
Can you see what I'm working on?
Nice.
It's Walker's doing a Red Hood suit, so I'm helping him with his little his little, what do you call it? The insignia. Stencil. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. All right, man. Thanks again. That was great. I hope people had a blast. And thanks, Chris Sagasag, for talking to us. And
thank you, everybody. Oh, wait. You gotta do the catchphrase, right? What took me so long?
Randall's got a catchphrase. What took me so long? We love it. All right, that's it. End stream.
All right.
Thanks. Bye.